Hello everyone, good evening. Uh, Welcome to this event on this session on uh, how to create an individual brand. So the session is more about branding, marketing, and how should we approach to create an individual brand for ourselves. We have seen brands, how they are created, how the value is kind of created once we have a larger brand. Similarly, once we have an individual brand for ourselves, what value can be derived? So we will walk through the journey of brand making strategies from which will be kind of shown by Samir and Anindya, and then what is the importance of having an individual brand. So without taking a lot of your time, I will just introduce you to Sam and Andy, that is the firm of Samir Joshi and Anindya Ghosh, and uh, then we take it forward from there. So first of all, thanks Sam and Andy for accepting our invitation for this webinar. We are extremely privileged to have you here today. So Sam and Andy, these are the duo who have created their own company, which is Sam and Andy, Samir Joshi and Anindya Ghosh. That is their real name, but they prefer to be called as Sam and Andy. So Sam and Andy is a brand marketing company that can help brands grow in today and tomorrow's marketplace. Samir Joshi and Anindya Ghosh, the head and heart of Sam and Andy, enjoy more than 36 plus years of cumulative work experience in strategic marketing, brand management, digital solutions, and mainline advertising, having worked in some of the top communication agencies in India and abroad, and renowned corporates in India. They have experience of working with various sectors like FMCG, telecom, financial services, real estate, home appliances, etc. The company strongly believes that business problems can be solved through the lens of brand, as business and brand form two sides of the same coin called growth. If a brand is seeded, nurtured, and managed rightly, one can enjoy the business benefits in the long term. And importantly, in today's time, a strong and relevant brand can future proof the business. Samir Joshi, founding partner of Sam and Andy, is business to brand strategist. Samir is very passionate about businesses that he handles as well as the people he works with, be it client or agency. He has managed a wide variety of clients and categories in more than 18 years of work experience and worked with agencies like JWT, Perceptage, McCann, and Rediffusion YNR. He has enjoyed partnering with brands like Hershey's, Jolly Rancher, Sofit, Godrej Appliances, Godrej SMG, SBI Mutual Fund, Red Tape, NPCI, Bank of Baroda, PNG Jewelry, and many more. Now, Anindya Ghosh, founding partner, Sam and Andy, brand to business strategist. Anindya has around 18 years of work experience in account planning. He has worked with agencies like Publicis, Wait CHI and Partners, and was national head CSO of planning at Grey Bangladesh. He has worked on marketing side with Aditya Birla Retail and Aptech Global Learning Solutions. He has worked on brands like McDonald's, Coca-Cola, ITC, Park Avenue Personal Care, Renault Duster, Henco, GlaxoSmithKline, Grameen Phone, Cellopen, Quicker, and many more. He has won prestigious planning led awards like WARC, National Awards for Marketing Excellence, and EMDIEs. So, friends, we now know that these two are kind of really well known personalities in their own domain. And without taking much of your time, I will straight away hand over to Andy to take this forward. Thank you.
Hello, hi, this Sam here. And Gitesh, thank you very much for the well introduction. And before I hand it over to Andy, I want all the participants just to make a note of few things, because it's not going to be a chat show or a one-sided seminar kind of a stuff, So when we are going through entire presentation, it's going to be that what we are going to present, people should be aware of, and they should be able to point of view?
I guess Samir, we lost you in between.
Hello.
Samir, your voice was off in between.
Okay, now it's better. It's clear. Hello, it's clear. It's better, Litesh.
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay. So I was saying, it's what you're going to present. It's a point of view and not to say what is right or wrong.
Hello, Samir. We missed you. Yeah, we are breaking.
Samir, there is some issue with your audio. I will just
our experience through the point of view. Also, it's not hello.
So there is some issue with your audio.
Is it audible?
Yeah.
It is fluctuating in.
Yeah, maybe there's maybe a network issue, but yeah. So I will quickly some of the things I think where I left you, I don't know, but I would just say, it's not about following rigidly what others are doing, but bringing in the originality in the thinking. That's what we are going to do it today. It's not all about, following an idea, not so much of following a person or the ideal. What is original or bring in the freshness gains business advantage by winning mind and heart share. That will eventually lead to share of the wallet and market share. That we need to know. And the greatest example, if we see that how you can with a great idea, if you follow the great idea, you can follow any kind of era. So currently we all are enjoying Ramayana. Of what we are watching today, the sincerity of this Ramayana even today got the audience hooked. It is reminding us of our nostalgia, but even our kids are also enjoying the Ramayana because the idea is strong, the characters are strong, and the message is strong. So it is not about the following the person or the following the ideal, but following the idea. So with that note, let's be ready to right kind of instigation, right kind of getting a right kind of questions so that we get a right kind of answers, which will help us solve our business problems through the lens of brand. So over to Andy. Andy, it's all yours.
A very good afternoon. I can say very good evening. I'm a bit scared. I was looking into the past presentations of you guys, and it was only numbers. We are not numbers guys. We are actually people with who come up with stories. And when it's time like this, when this, as the whole industry calls it, a black swan kind of event, unprecedented, dark event, I think stories that keeps us live, stories that keep us alive, stories that keep us going, and stories gives us a lot of positivity across. So when we start with the presentation, we say the business of your brand. There is a whole lot of, as Samir was rightly saying, and when Litesh was describing us, I was feeling really elated. इतने सारे ब्रांड पे काम किया, इतने कुछ बड़े बड़े तीर मारे, 30 मार कार बना. But at the end of the day, we have become big because these brands have been able to create big businesses. If a brand not able to create big business, I think it's just a logo. So the starting slide. So the starting slide, if you say the business of your brand is all about whether your brand is going to do business. If it's not going to do business, then it's nothing more than a logo. And when we say more so in a changed world, and it is very important to know that we are living in a changed world, and this world is not going to be the same which was yesterday, and this world is not going to be completely new. This world is actually going to be a mix of old and new. Some old habits are muted, some new habits are formed. In that scenario, how as a financial profession, how we be relevant to the people? Today also, when we see the market where going up and down, people are not going to spend money, people are taking money very dear. In that scenario, when 3rd of May happens, how do we operate? How do we do business? How do we create a brand? So we have small experiences to share. We have small stories to share. We have small examples to share that will prove a point of view that we want to point. The first is what we are going to do to evening. We will do the objective setting. We'll discuss. We'll share experiences. We'll think loud. We'll consider. We'll break status quo. Now, this breaking a status quo is very important, because when we start talking to Litesh that point of time, he said that brand building and advertising is a very costly affair. Does businesses like us, a professional like us, do need to spend that amount of money when it is a very functional kind of category, when it's a facts and figures kind of category? Status quo happens because myths needs to be broken. Once myths needs to be broken, I think the world becomes a very positive space. We'll try to break some of the myths today. Yes, brand building today is not about expenses. It's about becoming frugality. It's all about being investment. So we will do a few bit of exercises, not exercises like the Surya Ashan, exercises, mental exercises, and we'll use some of the learning to our own business and our own brand. So what is the objective? The first point is, how do we make our business a desirable decision in its own right for our audience by creating a brand out of it? How a consumer chooses brand A versus brand B. You yourself walks into a retail store full of aisles and aisles of product. How you decide in a moment of 5.6 seconds that you will buy Lux over Santur, or you will buy Bonvita over Horlicks. Why you take the decision? How you take the decision? What makes you take the decision? Clarity on how to attract more clients for our kind of business, boost lucrative referrals, and create new opportunities. We are more into B2B format of the business. How we get referrals, how we get the word floating around. Forget one day the social media is closed. How people talk around themselves about our brand, and why and how to own remembrance, respect, and reason to exist. This is the most important section, because this is where the personal branding is going to happen. And I will share my personal experiences when I was abroad, and this will also, I think, will tickle a thing in your mind. To simplify these three big statements, I think let's put it very in clean words, and we call it brand building. The first pointer was all about brand building and brand positioning. The second pointer was all about what is about brand to business approach. Is a brand financially make money for the company? How? The third is personal branding. The first and foremost question, so if you see this presentation, the presentation that we have made is more like a question answer sessions. The questions that we are asking ourselves, and we are trying to come to a right kind of questions to instigate a right kind of thinking. Do brands matter? Why? The first point is, do brands matter? If there is no brand, how does it matter? आज के टाइम पे हम घर के बाहर नहीं जा पा रहे, but still in that scenario, do brands matter? I think this statement sums it all. Your brand is what people say about you when you are not in the room. I think this is a statement, this is the right definition of a brand and a brand building initiative. When you're not there in a room, what your kids call you about? Do your kids call you Ram or a Ravan? Do your kids call you Kans or a Krishna? When you are not in the room, how your parents address you? It is just the money that you're sending home, that's why they are remembering you, or the unrelenting love that they have for you? How they remember you, how they define you as your son, as a daughter, how your colleagues define you who are not there,
how your colleagues define you over a glass of drink when you're not there, how your juniors define you when you're not there on a Friday in the office. I think everything put together is what a brand does when you are not in the room. To further drill down, a brand is an idea that you stand for, made real by what you do and expressed through a personality. I think this is a very, very important point is a brand, what Samir was saying, let's follow an idea, not an ideal or a human being. At the end of the day, Apple is an idea. Steve Jobs comes as a support for the idea. I think today brand is an idea that you stand for, made real by what you do and express through a personality. And if you see today, most of the brands, the good brands have stopped selling their product. They're selling their empathy. They're selling their sensitivity to the people. And we'll show you examples where brands have gone beyond selling their product to a larger space of helping humanity in this time of need. Today, if you see, a Domino's is not delivering pizza. A Domino's has started delivering atta, chawal, rice, masala of ITC or any other brand. The roles of a brand is changing. That is what is a brand, good brand stands for. Is it pushing for its own product or is it pushing for what consumer need at that point of time? And I think I will show you one interesting example where a brand, that point of time, it was not a brand also. It was a new category asking for people to adopt this category in their life. And after this brand building exercises, that category has become part and parcel of your life.
Sir, report 1. Report 2. What, sir?
Shut up!
Sir, hotel reservation desk on line 2.
Yes, I would like to book a table for 2.
Sure, sir.
Poolside.
Your name, sir?
Hari Sadhu.
What, sir?
Hari Sadhu.
Sir, may I? Yes, write down Hari Sadhu. H for Hitler, A for arrogant, R for rascal, I for idiot. That's right. Now write Sadhu. S for...
Shameless? Huh?
Now if you see this example, this brand has depicted two personality. One personality is about the boss. It always said you don't change your job, you change your boss. The insight lies there. The second is the personality of the person who takes a smarter way rather than cowering to the boss. So this is what the brand stand for. And if you see after that, Naukri.com not only became a destination or a URL, it became a part and parcel of a person, whoever is not happy with the job. It became an escape window. It becomes a window of freedom for people who are looking for a job without letting the world know that they're looking for a job. It becomes such a big brand. It becomes such a big category that people slowly and steadily started accepting the way as the category to search for job. Now, if you move to the next point, so what purpose does branding actually serves? What is the purpose? The main purpose of branding is to get more people to buy more of it for more years at an incremental price. And this is so true. If we see a simple example how a brand like Coca-Cola being able to create values year after year, and it is one of the top 10 brand globally. So this is an old data. This is around 2000-2001 data. The Coke market cap including brand value is $120 billion. The Coke market cap not including brand value is only $50 billion. That means the factories and all the product put together is only $50 billion. So what happens to the rest? The $70 billion is actually the intangible value creation. It is what the brand Coke is all about. $70 billion is an intangible value that makes up the total value of Coke to be $120 billion. Now, I will give you a small Indian example here. I exactly don't know the year. One apparel brand, they mortgage their brand to take money from the banks. They mortgage their brand to take 100 crore from the market, from the banks. So this is the dollar value. This is the tangible value of brand. Now, let's move to a next Indian example. In 11 years, it became a 22 billion USD valuation brand. And it started only as selling books. And this is none other than Flipkart. Now, Flipkart, Amazon came to this country in 2013, June. Now, Flipkart, if you see, is the only brand from 2010 onwards that they consciously started building a brand because they knew this is how they are going to reap benefit not only for themselves but for the stakeholders who have put money, faith in them. Now, if we see the journey of Flipkart, very interesting journey. From Flipkart.com, it was a destination. Flipkart.com, presently they are only Flipkart. From just an URL or a digital platform, they have actually become the shopping destination for this country called India and Bharat. And that's why they got valuation of $22 billion. Flipkart, apart from the operation, pricing and everything put together, the brand Flipkart is such a brand that people don't say buy online, they say Flipkart kar le ya Amazon kar le. Now if you see in today's example, brands have become verbs. You don't say search kar le, you say Google kar le. You don't say taxi book kar le, you say Uber kar le. You don't say food order kar le, you say Swiggy, Zomato kar le. Now Flipkart and Amazon actually become the verb for shopping. This is, I think, is the power of brand. Now if we move ahead, say then, okay, so why people don't want to create brand and want to become successful? Yes, it's a patient game, it's a complex process. Why it is a complex process? And you can equally blame us because our understanding of the consumer is far dated as compared to the consumer. And I will show you a simple example and also tell you a story which is very relevant here. Now, if I ask you about Indian father, this is typically the picture of an Indian father. गुस्से वाला, सुबह निकल जाते हैं बैग लेके, रात को 8 बजे थके हारे आते हैं, कुछ बोलोगे तो हाथ उठाता है. He is the typical provider, bread earner for the family. पापा से डर लगता है. पापा घर के कुछ काम नहीं करते. छुट्टी के दिन पापा न्यूज़पेपर लेके बालकनी में बैठे रहते. Right? This is a typical definition of papa that you have seen. Now see the reality of today's father and also see reality of today fathers with small kids, how they are helping their wife when everything is in the lockdown scenario.
If you're a young father in India, you're probably more hands-on in raising your child than generations of fathers before you. But we've never believed you exist. While the Indian mother has found the work-home balance, patriarchy refuses to recognize the Indian father who wants a home-work balance. It's built an image that men raising babies is unmanly and the few who do must not be career-focused. But Flipkart, an e-commerce leader serving over 21 million Indian fathers, knew this father was the new reality. So we gave patriarchy a reality check. Penguin Dad, an identity we created for a young working father, inspired by the most dedicated father in the animal kingdom.
Now, if you see the story of Penguin Dad and fathers who are staying back at home, this is the new reality. And this brand, if you see, have sensed this reality long back when they launched called Pant Style Diaper. Now, as a brand, earlier it was diaper was a ritual where the mother used to teach the father how to wrap a diaper around a kid. Right? But this brand sensed the culture, the new trend, and created a product, a brand called Pant Style Diaper. And if you see, this got reflected in the business numbers. They're catching up very fast. This is 2019 December data. They're neck to neck with the market leader P&G. A single understanding of changing of the household behavior, the changing of the Indian father has created a brand, has created a business which is giving run for the money for the leader brand. So it is not about advertising, it is about solving a need that is nobody is noticing, a need that is there but nobody is talking about. Now here I will quote a small example. It is one of the HUL CEO. He was traveling in the hinterland of India, and he was traveling to the south of this country, where he saw in a small rural family a small pouches of comfort fabric. He thought that the lady might have mistakenly purchased comfort as a shampoo, because for a rural family, comfort fabric conditioner is a way ahead product. They have not taken Surf Excel. Why they are taking comfort fabric? So he told his assistant, tell the women that this is not a shampoo, this is a conditioner. The women told in Telugu or some other South Indian language, she knows what it is. And she told a story to the CEO of Unilever that my husband is a school teacher, quite respected in the village. He has three white shirts. After washing those shirts, I put intentionally conditioner because it emits a good smell. It takes an aura of him around the village. He is one of the few educated person in the village, and he was highly respectful. Now the use of comfort fabric to a person's image is far distant related than a brand manager or a owner of a company could have ever thought of. But this is the reality. We have never judged the consumer the way the consumer behaves. Now we will move ahead and say, okay, brand building is a decision and a dedication for every day. Now, what is your business? Your business is about making a living. And what is your brand? What that business means. If your business is about killing cockroaches, what is your brand means? It is about promising a pest-free life without the tension and frustration. If your business is about shelling a shirt that looks good untucked, what your brand does, it promises that you can look like an entrepreneur. If your business is about online job search, what is your brand does? It promises to give you a job and let you free from the drudgery of your boss. So if you see, the brand and business are so interlinked and so interdependent. Now I will show you the example of this. Your business sells a shirt that looks good untucked, right? What is your brand promises? That you look like an entrepreneur. Now you see this example.
We started Untuck It to help guys look sharp and feel casual. Because traditional shirts just weren't meant to be worn untucked. Untuck It shirts fall at the perfect length and are designed for guys of all shapes and all sizes. So now everyone can experience the perfect fit of an Untuck It shirt.
At least somebody made the right call.
So what the brand did, what the business did, business found a latent need. In the shirts, people like to wear shirts that look sharp but feel casual. What they invented, a shirt of the right size. What the brand promised, that you look sharp, you look casual, you look like an entrepreneur. You look pretty smart. Now you see, by identifying a need, nobody has told, okay, this shirt doesn't fit on me, but we keep on wearing this shirt untucked. Untucked being a need, somebody identified. So what's the key takeout? People say, I care about my clients. How do we stand out when everybody is doing the same thing? Don't you think your competition or somebody else's competition, everybody is taking care of the client? This is a very basic foundation of business. This is a basic foundation of any corporate function, taking care of the clients. Just because you have a business doesn't mean you have a brand. A brand needs to be continuously carved out of a business, right? Being great at what you do isn't a brand. Being great at what you do isn't a brand. It is a prerequisite. Don't think that you are doing fabulously in your job doesn't make you a brand. It's a prerequisite of a job to fight a competition. Do you want to be rich or do you want to be famous? Is it a function of or is it a function of and? I want to be rich and I want to be famous. So this is about what? This is about why. And this is a typical statement by Simon Sinek. People don't buy what you do, people buy why you do. And in times of COVID, if you see, the brands who are trying to do what they are doing are not getting eyeballs of the people or love of the people. Rather, the brands who are doing why. People who are saying why they are doing. That's why they are making a lot of difference. So the first question to ask is, okay, Sam and Andy, why do you what you do? We believe and behave that brand and business, every brand has the ability to do good business and become profitable, create a value, and every business can become a loved and remembered brand in its own right. And here we'll share our case study. Sam, you want to take them through this case study?
Oh, Andy, you continue. And I suggest, I think with this also, we should talk about the Persona 1 as well.
I think
so
Sam, you take this case study. You take this case study.
So, okay. So this is a case study which we wanted to talk about, where when we talk about, that brand, we always talk about it. But sometime in the beginning also, I mentioned about that how a business problem can be solved with the brand. So this is a classic example of it. So I will talk about it in a nutshell, because this is a very known hospitality. It's a catering business in the Bombay suburb, and they do catering for more than 1,000 or 1,500 or 2,000 people kind of gathering, and at a large venue and all that. Now we all know that wedding industry is taking the next step in terms of many people are not attending it. People are doing destination wedding. There is a less of dishes are being served and all that. So as a business, it's going to take a hit. Does it mean that I should stop my business? No, you can't do that. So this was a problem was there on a table in front of us. Then what should we do? can I do advertise? Can I do digital marketing? Can I do X, Y, Z? And how do I start doing it? Because that's a reality. That's a category problem. It's not an individual brand or individual business problem. It's a category problem that everybody is facing this problem. But at the same time, what is working for this industry, or what is as a culture and a behavior, there is a huge shift is happening in the market, which is what? Which is the house parties are getting increased. And we identified that as a trend and a behavior change. And what we suggested, why can't we create a sub brand under Raksha Hospitality where we can cater to the house parties? Where what happens, you know, that you have a 25 people or a 30 guests or a 50 guests max, and you can serve them with that kind of a royalty and that kind of a expertise. So I have my business expertise as a catering client. At the same time, I have found the solve the problem with a different kind of a solution. So we need to, you know, we need to think out of the box. When we say that, you know, there are so many wealth advisors are there, there are so many mutual funds are there, there are so many banks are there. How I can differentiate? If problem is going to there, category will face a problem, business will face a problem, but how to find a solution? And through the lens of brand is a classic example is Raksha Hospitality, what we serve. So this is, we'll move ahead. So yeah, this was the logo developed for them. The branding has been developed to them, and we positioned them entirely, and they're fantastically, they are doing well now because they found that niche in the market, and now they are trying to become taking a first mover advantage or the beginners of advantage in the elite society of the Bombay. Yeah, Andy, move on.
I think you move out with the second case also quickly.
Okay. So second also, so another problem was, it is related to your industry, where what has happened that, you know, there is a term we can't name because we signed the NDA. There was a insurance company. It's one of the leading insurance company in the country, and you all are financial guys. You know that, you know, usually insurance companies don't sell term insurance, and term insurance, that's the reason it has been sold through the online. So what has happened? This company said, okay, we have a 25 CR turnover, and now we want to reach 100 crore online. So what is to be done? And we know to do only the digital thing. They did, you know, big research and all as well, but nothing was coming out great. Then they said, now this is my standard TG, and how we can solve the problem. What we did, we got a standard persona from them, and after that we created 21 sub personas of father. Because in India, usually the term insurance has been bought by the father and not the women, because there is a term that, you know, that if women is working, then only you can do it. And we created 21 sub personas out of it. And with the research and with our studies and all that, we identified that, you know, in that also there is a great two target sitting, where if we can identify and we can target them on digital medium, we can get a great revenue opportunity. And that those two were, one was the LGBTQ and one was a single mother or a single woman. So these two we identified as a sub personas, and once we identified the sub personas, there is a huge market opened up. We can talk about the numbers separately because we don't want to take much time on this, that how the number of 7.3 million women sitting in India as a single women, and how one can target them and get the business out of it and can generate revenue. And then immediately they started working on the plan, and they said, oh, these are the two sub personas, which is fantastic, and I think we should go ahead with. So it is about how we need to solve the problem. But what happens, you know, usually why we want to talk about it, we usually get hooked to the problem, but through the brand also we can solve it. Through the out of the box thinking, we can solve it. That is what we wanted to communicate through these two examples. Yeah, Andy, carry on, please.
Okay. Now we move on to the section of, okay, so let's move into making your brand into business. The first question is that, is brand to business is only required for B2C, or it is matters for B2B? Now let me give you quick examples how brands in the B2B environment has gone to the public to influence the B2B decision. And if you typically see Jaguar fittings in a real estate ad, if you see Jaguar fittings in real estate ad, they are talking about different brands. What is the need for them? A real estate is a house, is a house, is a house. But finally today, the discerning customers are asking for fitting kahan ke rakha hai, cabling kis cheez ka kya hai, aapne tiles kiska lagaya. Now what these brands have done, they have influenced the consumer to go back to the real estate guy and ask whether your property have these things, then I will buy this property. Now B2B way of doing business is going changed. It is B2C to B that has happened. So why B2B and B2C, for us it remains the same, because the core property remains the same. Because at the end of the day, it's not about B2B or a B2C or a B2B to C or B2C to B. It is about human to human relationship. It's about the right stimulus to the right person at right time. It's also very important. I will show you one case study from Google. When the B2B purchaser, the decision maker, the second generation is becoming younger. And the last point is the cost negotiation versus the value addition or the value creation. Now, here is a question. Just today morning, I read one article on McKinsey, and it is talking about what is B2B way of selling going to happen, because physical meetings are not going to happen. So how B2B way of business going to evolve over a period of time when everything is going to happen on webinars or white papers? I think here your historical relationship, your personal branding as a financial advisor with your client, and the new way of approaching this business through webinars, white papers, brochures, the way you brand your company will do a lot of difference in the B2B scenario.
First of all, B2B buyers are getting younger than ever before. We're seeing that in the last 2 years, there's been a huge shift in the number of people that are in the 18 to 34-year-old age bracket. 2 years ago, we saw that this percentage was around 20% of the B2B buyers. Now it's up to 46%. That's a 70% jump in 2 years. More than ever before, B2B decisions are made by committee. We've always known that C-level decision makers are really, really important in that purchase process. However, we're seeing that over 80% of the non-C-suite influencers have influence over that purchase process as well. So we're seeing that the search behavior is much more intense than ever before. Some things haven't changed in the last 2 years in the way that B2B buyers are using search. It's still the number one information source that B2B buyers are using in that research process. And 90% of B2B buyers use search in that research process. 2 years ago, we didn't see such long path or the number of queries that people were conducting in that research process. Now, when people are actively researching, on average, people do 12 searches. That's up 6-fold from what we saw 2 years ago. What we're finding is that 60% of the B2B buyers are considering only 1 or 2 brands, and that's up from 40% 2 years ago. Second of all, what we're seeing is that when people are researching, and if they are considering you, 75% of them are only going to visit your site once. So you only have one shot at getting into the consideration set to make sure that you provide the right information on your website and have a great user experience for that user. So what we're seeing is that there are 3 key things that B2B marketers should do as a result of the changes in the last 2 years. First of all, they should be revising their search strategy to reflect the much longer, much more savvy nature of the way that the B2B buyer uses search, both generic and brand. Second of all, they should invest in brand awareness to make sure that they are one of those 2 brands that people are considering in the research process. And last of all, they need to make sure that they have a great user experience on their landing page, on their website, when people are coming on that one-time chance to get into the consideration set. So make sure that you have great content and a great user experience on your website.
Now this is coming from the horse's mouth. This is coming from Google. 3 things that they're saying. The B2B purchaser are becoming younger. They're searching you. They're searching you thoroughly. Your website needs to be at the peak of his performance, because they are going to land only once when they are going to do business with you. And the third most important thing is that there are only 2 players that they are considering. Are you there in their consideration set? Okay. Now we move from a very, I will skip this section because we are running short of time. I think let's come to very relevant example from your category. This is exactly a financial category, and this is very, very important case. This lady is called Brenda Bliss. She is the head of Bliss Financial Group. Now, if I read through, it is only about achievements. It is only about how she has topped everything. Now, if I read through, it is only that she has become the top of the top women, the top people. She has done this course. She has been awarded this. But where is the humanity in it? Where is the human being in it? Where is the personal brand in it? This is the website of Bliss Financial Group yesterday or earlier time. Here, if you see, the consumer is just at the side. The whole site is occupied by the financial advisor. It is all about me, and is not about the consumer. The consumer is not sitting at the center. The consumer is sitting at the periphery. It is all about what I am doing for you. It is all about sales. Every brand in the category was talking about same. The website was not different. The lady was all achiever. But how does it connect with the consumer? So what they did, they relooked at the person and the company. Now it is a very interesting thing. They got personal stories of the lady. This lady grew up in a dairy farm. She is one of the 6 kids. She worked in a departmental store where she learned to give advice. And her ethos of life is that this business is not about numbers. This business is all about relationship. Now you see the reflection that they got. They changed the whole tonality of the company. This is the new website of the company, and they are talking about their mode to life. They are talking about security is about more than you have. It is knowing what to do with it. How the whole company lens, the website, even the personal branding of Brenda Bliss changed. From bullet points of achievement, she became a person that is ready to share your money matter with you. And this is how the whole company changed. From taking care of your finances, you can rely on me because I have the expertise to understand that money is extremely important for you. This brings us to the most important section that which most of the participant has agreed to accept is personal branding. What is personal branding and why the need of it? If I'm working in a company, why I need a personal branding? Is personal branding is only for entrepreneurs? Personal branding is needed whether you are an entrepreneur or whether you are working in a company, because if you don't position yourself, your market will gladly do it for you. Because the end game is to sell your product, not only to sell your product, to sell yourself, to answer the consumer's question, what's in it me? Why should I listen to you? And personal branding comes from the point how it bridges what you sell versus what customers buy, what clients buy. Now this is what we sell. We sell digital marketing, paid marketing, everything. What the client buy? The client buys expertise from us. The client buys time from us. The client buys assurance from us. Same thing happens with you. Do you think the client buys only financial advice from you, or they are buying assurance from you? They are buying your culture. They are buying your time. They are buying your expertise, which is a mix of your personal and a professional life. Now, what is personal branding? Personal branding is not about your resume. It's not your title or your business. It is what you are, what you stand for, and the way you work. This is typical example of personal branding. And if you see this person, he's tweeting about sitting with his lungi in these con calls. as a corporate business owner, he's making himself like the common Indian locked out in a locked out situation. So what are the key takeouts of a personal branding? What is need? What are the key needs of a personal branding? So personal branding is a mixture of things: your personal self, your professional self, your thought leadership, your legacy. Who are you? The way you live, your families, your hobbies, your interests, where you work, your first job. What are your important skills, experiences? What are your areas of expertise apart from your job? And how you want to be remembered? Why personal branding matter in today's time? Because today we want to become bigger than your job. Because we want to measure ourselves beyond our job. Because we want to leave a legacy. Because we want to share our point of view on matters beyond our job. And when I come to a point of legacy, I said initially, I'll share a story. When I went abroad, I was a replacement for a country head. 3 months continuously compared with that country head, because that country head was loved by all. Everybody used to compare me with the country head, because that country head did nothing, but he left behind a legacy of being a human and being a professional. My task was not to be under his shadow, but create my own personality, own personal branding, create my own legacy. Now, what we say, this is a provocation model that we have. At one end, being good at what you do, this is a prerequisite, but it is also being known for it. It has to be told to the world. Truth has to be told to the world. If you are good, it has to be told to the world. If you are great, it has to be told to the world. And told to the world, not like shouting in the Facebook or the social media, by you way you conduct yourself. And I will quickly show one example of your category where people knew about the brand, but it has to be told to people. So why you think a brand like Motilal Oswal need to tell the market that think equity, think Motilal Oswal? They are so much known in the market, but they felt that the new genre has to be told, the new millennial has to be told. So, and when we're talking to Litesh, he said, okay, today we are facing this problem when the markets are going up and down. We have suggested client to invest somewhere. That stock is not working good. That thing is not working good. And people are not taking financial advisor at this time very seriously. And this kind of media inputs are also making people very jittery. So what to do in that position? In that case, how you create your personal branding? So there are 3 cheat codes. These are quick cheat codes. One is called promise. One is called presence. One is called practice. Promise is what you are giving me. What you are giving me, are you living up to it? Are you misselling me? Or you are telling me and you are living up to it? Presence, what you are like, how you present yourself. And practice, what you do on a regular basis. If your promise is what other people are doing, then how you are differentiated? Presence. When you are not in the room, what is the story? When you are in the room, what is your personality? It is not about B2B or B2C. It is about human to human. And what is practice? What is your consistency? And if you come to consistency, it's all about how you respond to emails and phone calls, how your website looks, how your product and services being designed, how you speak at conferences and engagement, how your deck presentation looks like, how your visiting card, how your brochures look like. And we work with a lot of SMEs and MSMEs, and we have figured out for 5 years people don't change their brochures. The same excuse they give, my product remains same, why should I change brochure? But if you think the other person, the purchasing manager, the manager who is going to evaluate your brochure, he has changed. There's a new person in the role who needs to be communicated in a new way. Now, is a small example we'll leave behind with you. You can do at home. The first exercise of personal branding is, what is your passion? What you Google when you are not doing your work? What is your non-agenda interest when you have few minutes extra? What is one comment that makes you proud? What do your clients value about you? Not about your job, but about you as a human being, as a professional, as a person, as a thought leader. What they think that you are going to create a legacy for your company and being an entrepreneur. How you're uniquely skilled. Why you have thought of doing a digital marketing course though you are a financial advisor? Do you provide clients with insights apart from your job? What kind of insights you provide? This is very important, called the Twitter test. You write 160 character of how you are going to define yourself and write it for 15 to 20 times, and you pick up the best that defines you. The why test. Ask and write 5 notes. Why is how I want to be known? Ask yourself why I am uniquely qualified. Why Litesh is a CA, is a CFS, is a CS. Why you wanted to do all those things? You could have done one thing. Write 5 things about you, because that is your trump card. That is how you are going to create a personal branding in front of your client, in front of your new business lead. The spouse test. This is very important. How your family, your wife defines you, social circle. How she defines your job in the social circle. How your father defines your job in the social circle. How he defines you. Karta kya beta? Think niche. Think that I need to write so many about myself. Does it make it a person without a point of view? A person who wants to do everything but not smart at one thing? Niche today is about serving a particular kind of clientele with a thought process. And this is a very interesting, and we suggest all the participants to take this Q test. What kind of personality you are? How you come in front of your client? How you come in front of your social circle, professional circle? It adds to your personal branding. Put a dot. If the dot is on the left, or the dot is on the right, or the dot is down the center. This is how this is going to create an imagery about you. And the most important questions is, I'm not sure I can really do this. I'm not sure this session has made any dent in my mind to go for a personal branding or create a brand out of my business. I don't know where to start. These are, if these are the questions you're thinking, and if are the questions you're instigating to Litesh, I think we are able to create some of instigation in your mind. And time to sum up, what will be the next generation of your business inherit? Whether your job or whether you are a business entrepreneur, what you are going to leave behind, your brand and your branding. Dial up the soul of the business, what is brand to business, and Google LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook yourself, which is about personal branding.
Wow, wow, Andy, that was amazing. Kind of, I'm now thinking of what kind of brand do I want to make for my business, as well as what kind of a personal brand that I am, and what kind of a brand that I would like to create for myself. Kind of has made me think. So, amazing session for me, for sure. To all the people in the audience, please send out all your questions in the Q&A chat box which has been given in the screen. Please share your questions. I will be more than happy to get answer from Andy. We have already shot up our time, so we might be able to take some 4 to 5 questions in next 10 to 15 minutes. So Andy, please send your questions at the earliest. So, to both Sam and Andy, I had drawn a couple of questions early, and one of them was that kind of when we talk about brands, are these, and whenever we are talking about creating a brand, should we think of creating a multi-period, multi-generational type of a brand, or should it be like for that particular period? Like we say for example, Amul, that brand has survived the test of time. I guess I have been seeing advertisements of Amul since my childhood days, and now that Ramayana and Mahabharata are being retelecast, we are seeing those old advertisements which were being shown during our childhood days, and you can connect with the same within a fraction of time. So how should one kind of create a brand and kind of connect with the audience during all the time?
Yeah. Litesh, let me answer. I think some interesting questions also come out. I will tag all those questions and try to answer in one thing. I think first question was you thinking that brand building is a short-term or a long-term process, right?
Yeah. So Ananda, you can kind of your video is not on, so you can on your video as well. Same with Samir, you can on your video. Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see.
Okay. I think the first question is brand building is a short-term or a long-term process. Then there is a very interesting question. Okay, I don't have budgets for advertisement, but how can I create a brand? Okay. Then there is a question of emotional intelligence. Okay. Now we'll come one by one. Brand building today, if I say is a long-term process, I think you guys should go out of this meeting. Today, brand building has to be a mix of short-term and long-term. Today, seeing into the market, it has to be 0 through 6. You have to be immediate. It has to be 3 months. It has to be 6 months. And also it has to be 5 years. Brand building both has to be a short-term and a long-term process. If money doesn't come in the business through building a brand, then the business doesn't sustain, the brand dies. The biggest example if you see brands like Konica, BlackBerry, they have died because the brand was not doing business. Brand like Kingfisher, Jet Airlines, they're loved by customers, but they died because they gumbled up. The brand was talking a different language, the business was going a different way. Whereas Apple, if you see, is a function of both long-term and a short-term brand building. They take out versions of their models of phones, and also they have a long-term vision of creating something great in the market. So brand building is both short-term, it has to be short-term, it has to be long-term. So long-term in brand building, we call it vision. The short-term that we called is mission. So mission makes the vision. So long-term is a cumulative effect of lot of short-term things that you do with keeping the core of the business, the core of the brand same. Now coming to emotional intelligence, don't you think the personal branding or brand building, the Brenda Bliss case, her emotional intelligence created a completely different perspective about the company? Earlier, it was all about achievements, academic achievements, professional engagement. She put the emotional intelligence by saying, this is not about numbers, this is about relationship. She started a career in a departmental store by giving free advices to people. From a bullet points of achievement, she moved into the emotional understanding. And if you see from a website that was talking about independent financial group to become theirs lot to life, from a website that was only about financial advisor to it moved to only consumer. I think emotional intelligence in a business like finance makes a lot of sense, because you're asking a person to part away with the most important part of his life. How do you give confidence to a person by being just a professional IIT pass out or a CFA pass out? Do you need to connect with the person? I think there where the emotional intelligence works a lot. And the third point is that today brand building is not about money. Brand building is all about getting the strategy right. Let me give you two examples of brand that was built on zero advertising budget. One is your WhatsApp. WhatsApp was built on zero advertising budget. The second was Uber. Initially, Uber was built on zero advertising budget because they had a great idea. What Samir was saying, let's follow an idea. Let's not follow a process. If you have an exciting idea, people will lap it up. It's not necessarily that you need to spend money. If you have a great idea, if you have a great strategy in place, if you have a great positioning in place, people will lap up. People will take it viral. You not necessarily need to spend money on advertising.
Thanks, Andy. Few questions are more related to kind of independent advisory businesses. So I will try to club them into one, where the questions are more towards, if you see our business, they are more individual driven, small advisory businesses which are there. And kind of even if there are fund managers, which if we see in our industry, few fund managers have come out of the mutual fund industry and have started off on their own as independent funds, smaller funds. Now, these are kind of businesses which are linked to or related to that particular individual that show or that reflects the identity of that individual. So should it be that they should create a separate brand for the business and a separate brand of that individual, or should it be looked at a kind of in a same way? Because these individuals are the one whom their clients trust, and they kind of invest their money on the basis of that. So what should be the idea? And another aspect is that for these people who are kind of relatively young and small in size, again, in terms of budgeting and all, what should be the way they should approach branding and marketing?
I think people with individual business, Samir, you add whenever you want. Okay, I think people with individual businesses, your personal branding has a lot of impact on your company brand, but it is not separate. You need to build a company brand because today you're 1%, tomorrow you're going to be 10%, day after tomorrow you're going to be 20% or 30%. Okay, I think if you see the Tata example, the Anand Mahindra example, the Wipro example, the Nayan Murthy example, all have imprinted their personal branding on the company branding. Right? Tata is also known for Ratan Tata's values. Right? Anand Mahindra's values gets rubbed onto the company Mahindra. Narayana Murthy's way of living a simple life has an impact on how Infosys works today. Let's not get into the controversy of who is what, but this kind. And few days back, I was going through this webinar of Mr. Sanjeev Mehta of Unilever. He said a nice thing. Okay, people say, I don't want to work in a Lala company. In India and in India, if you see, and abroad, almost all the companies are Lala companies. Whether you are working in an Indian Lala company or a Lala company based out of abroad. If you see, all these companies were built on strong values of personal brand that has rubbed into the company brand. So when we work with people, one important aspect of our brand building exercise is understanding the corporate culture, understanding the owner's point of view, understanding the ethics, best practices the owner want to put into the business. Because the owner is known for that and the company is to be known for that. Am I answering you? Have I answered your question rightly? That is the first part of your question. Okay. If I'm an individual advisor, my company brand, my personal brand, for a time being, it has to be one singular brand. Your personal brand needs to rub up the company brand. The company brand also make you serious about your personal brand. If you're not serious about your personal brand, your company brand will be taken for as being flat, will be taken not seriously. If your company brand want to be taken seriously, your personal brand want to be like that. And I give you personal example. When I was working in agencies, I used to behave a certain way. But when I started my company, my partner Samir, every day for the initial period of their life, has to teach me that you are now a company owner. You are not a part of a creative unit that you behave like a creative person. You are actually the founding partner of a company. You need to conduct yourself in front of business owners with 500 crore or 1000 crore worth of business. So my personal brand becomes the company brand of Sam and Andy. I cannot behave in a certain way. And you are talking about, Litesh, the second question was how much I do need to spend. It is all about understanding the problem you are going to solve about your business. Is it just a website? Is it just a positioning? What else you need to do? What are the clientele? What are the markets you are serving? How you are serving the market? What are the competition in the market? Who are you fighting? Who are you fighting? This everything put together will give you a frame of, okay, this is the money I need. Because if you don't spend the money, and I'm telling you on the face, this is a reality. If you don't spend money, it's very difficult in a very cluttered competition market to make your voice hear to your respective consumer, to your respective client.
Right.
I'll just Litesh, just a minute. I just add one simple point for because Litesh has rightly mentioned one thing, that you all are in an individual driven businesses where offerings are the same. See, offerings can be matched, but what is offering plus can't be matched. That plus is your personal branding. We just need to understand that, because see what happens, I am advising on a financial advisory, someone else will also. Expertise is a common platform for everyone, but expertise plus, that's where your personal branding will come into picture, and that's where you need to create your personal branding. That's what I can sum up with this thing.
Correct. The intangible thing which is related to your product or
exactly.
service.
That's the reason people will come to you, because expertise, he has 50 other people to do that job, but why he'll come to you? That plus is your personal branding will be talking in the future.
Right. So we have time for, say, one more question. I will try to club it, try to make two questions so that we can extract maximum for you. maximum from you is one is how early should one start building his own personal brand, and is the personal branding relevant for only entrepreneurs, or even it is applicable to employees? So say maybe a year back I was an employee, now I am an employer. So when does it make any difference between branding for an employer or an employee?
Certainly. Yeah, Andy.
Yeah. Litesh, can I ask you a simple question? Do you think at the same level of experience in a company, people get paid the same salary?
No.
Why?
Because of both.
Yes. It's not about only expertise.
Correct.
Interview is not about expertise. If somebody has filtered 10 CVs through a Naukri.com site and called for 10 people and one gets shortlisted, and he asks for a money or she asks for a money, and the money get negotiated and get paid, and being told that you are not supposed to tell it to your colleagues that you have been paid that amount of money because you're paying less. How? Personal branding, I think, starts from the day you start your job.
Right.
And this is important whether you are in a company, whether you are working or you're an entrepreneur. Finally, it is who you are. It is not what you do. Litesh is a CFA, what you do. But finally, who you are as a consultant makes a lot of difference. Because there are so many consultants, why a particular client will come to you, not go to somebody else. Why a particular client is ready to pay you 10% premium and still take your service when this service is available at 10% less premium. You yourself tell Litesh, why you buy a product, you know that product can be bought outside Andheri station at 100 rupees and you walk into a store to pay 200 rupees. What is the assurance? Apart from coming from a reputed company?
So what I believe is generally people go for a brand is more towards the trust that they put it on that particular brand for that particular product or service that they are using. They believe that the quality and timeliness of that particular product or service will be as per their requirement, as per the requirement of the consumer, and that's why they would like to go for that particular
I think
brand.
this is a brilliant point. I think what you're talking about trust, I will rather put it the other way. It is about the responsibility. When you become a brand, you become responsible. You can't take things for granted. A person selling outside Andheri station has the liberty of taking things for granted, but he doesn't do that. But when you become a brand, you have comes with a responsibility, and that responsibility makes you to take certain steps. Whether you are working in a company, do you think there is no protocol for you to behave? What are those protocols? The protocols are company values, and a person gets chosen in an interview when the company values and the person values matches. People lose job or leave job within 6 months, not because they're incapable, because people say, I'm not compatible with the company. It's compatibility, right? Same with your business. Some clients stay with you for 10 years, call you, even if they don't have money, just for the sake of talking to you. And some clients don't even revert back to you because the wavelength doesn't match. We call a word called wavelength. What is this wavelength? This wavelength is nothing but the intangible value. I think there is an interesting question a lady has asked. Somebody has asked, I'm an individual interior designer. How can I create a brand? Tell me, in these countries, how many fashion brands are started by individual people? Anita Dongre, right? There were individual people who created a brand out of it. It doesn't stop that where you're a single person or you're a multiple, you're an organization, brand starts with you. How you behave, the way you take responsibility, the way you practice, the way your presence is felt, the way you fulfill the promise.
Sure. Sure. So I'm sorry, we are short of time, but it was an excellent session, very engaging. I found it really engaging. Hopefully, our audience also found the this particular session very engaging, and hopefully they had a lot of takeaways from the session. So I would like to conclude by simply once again saying thanks to Sam and Andy. It was a wonderful experience to listen to both of you and getting a clear understanding of why a brand is so important, what is required to create a brand, and once the brand is created, what are the benefits of a known brand. It helps in kind of getting repeat businesses with incremental revenues. Also, for individuals, why should one create a brand for himself or herself? Why it matters a lot for creating about an individual brand. And for finance people like me, it's like moving from unknown to known unknown, like from not knowing what I did not know before the session to moving where I at least know that what I don't know. That is what I can. That is the way I would like to sum up this particular session. Thanks a lot to everyone for attending this session. There is a survey link which has been provided in the chat box, requesting everyone to please take the survey and provide your views on this session so that we can provide you more quality events like this in future. Thank you.
Litesh?
Yeah.
Can I just add 10 seconds or we can finish it off?
Sure.
So I think two most important thing that needs to be remembered post the COVID era, a brand will win. Only a brand will win. And secondly, yesterday there was a Nielsen report. In the COVID, 152 new brands being launched in the hygiene and the food category. This shows the opportunity post the COVID is will open up.
Right. Thank you. We can just see that how enthusiastic Andy and Sam are on this particular topic. Hopefully, we should be able to get you again once the lockdown is over for another session for our CFS India Society. Thank you. Thanks from the CF India Society.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.